All right, it's 9 o'clock. We're going to start this show. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Friday. Good to see everybody. Been another crazy week. Welcome to the summertime in South Carolina. 60 degrees last week, 96 this week. Awesome. Thank goodness for air conditioning. All right, I'm on remote today. I am taking a day, and I got a special guest. I'm gonna jump on with me just a minute, but we'll make this quick. Interesting. I do want to give a shout out. We did an event last night with the West Columbia and Lexington Chambers, the Tri-County Business After Hours last night, partner engagement. Sorry, and it was a fun time. So glad to have Tim James here. This is what happens when you leave a life-size poster around the Columbia Chamber folks. That's Tim James. And so we're thrilled to have him with us today. Thank you, Tim, for being, well, it's really not, but it looked so good. We needed to have him as a special guest as well. But we had a good turnout last night for those that could make it. We had about 250 folks last night. So thanks very much for joining. All right. Let me get back to there we go. Saw a crazy thing driving to the low country this morning, past a gas station, $4.61 a gallon for regular. Whew. Holy Toledo. Let's start walking a lot more, guys. That is expensive gasoline. I don't even want to know what the cost is in London, but it has gotten expensive. Quick update. General Assembly obviously finished, and so they're starting their post-session meetings next week. So not much to talk about from a state level, but I was thrilled. Last Friday night, the governor signed something we've been working on for a long time, about 5 years at the chamber, where the state of South Carolina has fully exempted military pay from state income taxes. 34 other states across the country had already done that. About 4 years ago, we were able to get about 33% cut for the military pay, but other states had already totally exempted. So we were really pleased with now Speaker Merle Smith, but also the governor for getting that across the line. And that's a huge competitive opportunity for us in South Carolina to retain so many military personnel that are leaving one of the many bases that we have across the state. Just as a refresher, we have 34 people a month retire out of Fort Jackson. And so when they have 100% of their military pay exempted from state income taxes, that's a benefit. Hopefully they'll stay in Columbia and add to the workforce. So thanks to their leadership on that, we finally got that done. Another big meeting happened yesterday. The City of Columbia's Tax Modernization Committee met. They came out with a draft recommendation on things to do to try to lower the tax burden on really the 6%, the commercial and rental markets in Columbia. The recommendations in the draft form are going to be, they've got to get some work done by the General Assembly, but the goal is to see a reduction over the next 10 years from 6% to 4% for commercial and rental properties in the city of Columbia. So there's a lot of work to be done, but as we did a tax study in 2015, and this has been a significant challenge for us in the Midlands to deal with our tax problem. So kudos to the mayor and chair of this tax modernization, Joe Taylor, for getting that ball across making progress. It's not there yet, but we're getting there. So all that to be said, good stuff. Next week, we've got a military outreach meeting on Tuesday. So if you're interested, come join us there at the State Fairgrounds. All right, without further ado, I've got a special guest, somebody I've known for a long, long time. Got him, Van Cato. Van represents, he's the state director for Senator Lindsey Graham. Van has worked with the senator since he was actually in the House of Representatives before he was elected, before the senator was elected. And so this is a apolitical conversation today. We're not going to talk about politics of DC, even though we could spend a long time about the dysfunction in DC, but instead Van is state director, and so he oversees operations in, how many offices do you have?
We have 6.
6 offices across the state. And for those that are not aware of what congressional offices, primarily state, a senator's office can do for business, but your goal, your job is to just to travel around the state and to represent the senator, obviously, but really look at things from a statewide.
Correct. So we have, like Carl said, we have 6 offices across the state, kind of hit every region of the state. And in each office, we generally have a caseworker or 2. A caseworker would be someone that, let's say you're traveling on Wednesday of next week and you realize that you looked at your passport and your passport's expired. You may contact our office, Senator Graham's office, or Senator Scott, or Congressman Clyburn, any other offices, and we will get you your passport on time. We've had it to the point where, you know, someone will on Wednesday realize they're traveling on Friday. We'll have them walk through the airport in Atlanta or somewhere. We'll get them their passport. They're able to make their trip. So we can, you know, we do that. We work on immigration cases. We work on Social Security cases. We work on really anything with the
VA cases.
VA cases, a bunch. And so in our Columbia office, just so y'all know, the 2 local people is a lady named Meg Porter and then William Smith. And William is, he retired. He's a retired sergeant. And so he has a wealth of knowledge on military cases. He does all our military outreach and military cases for the state, or not for the state, but for the Midlands region. So I am, excuse me, I am looking for another person in that office. So I need an outreach person. I know everybody is looking for employees, and we're not exempt from that. I have a staffer I've got to fill. I'm actually taking resumes now. So if you got a good person to do outreach, send them my way.
All right, Van, when you're crisscrossing the state, which you do frequently, I think you were in Rock Hill yesterday. What are you hearing? Well, I mean, what if a business person's contacting you about issues that they're seeing? What are you hearing? What are you seeing across the state?
Unfortunately, I can write the script. I toured a chemical company in Rock Hill yesterday. They had 50 employees and they needed to hire 6 more. Everybody needs employees. I generally hear, especially in manufacturing, if you get into some of the retail businesses, restaurants and hoteliers, not quite the same, but you will hear from a lot of manufacturing people that really sheepishly they'll tell me, our business has been great over the last 2 years. We've kind of done better. Our numbers have been better than they ever have been. Still can't find employees, and we've got a number of openings. But if the supply chain issues work out right for us and we can store up stuff, our business is great. So hearing a lot of that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a trend, even Midlands, which is not growing as fast as some other parts of the state, but we still are growing. Employees, everybody on this call we talked about this ad nauseum, the need to find more talent. And the good news is we're lucky. We've got 5,200 graduates from the colleges around Columbia every year. So we've got a talent pool. It's just making sure they're trained up and qualified to work and prepared to work for companies in South Carolina.
And retaining.
Yeah.
I mean, that is that they don't look at North Carolina. They don't look at Georgia. They don't look at to go somewhere else that they know there's a quality job right here in South Carolina, and they can go fill that position and enjoy the 60-degree weather one week and 95 this week.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, how can business help you? Other than trying to find you employees.
Yeah. We you know, I kind of look at our office across the state. In our state offices, we're in the service business. If y'all have issues where, you know, you have a postal situation, contact our office. Let us help you. Let us help you let your business do better, because the federal government is so bureaucratic, so large. A lot of times, you know, one example, we went to file our income taxes a couple of months ago, and we realized my oldest daughter, who's 19 years old, her social security number had been stolen. Someone had made a claim with the IRS saying that they did not get one of the stimulus checks on behalf of her. They were trying to steal the $2,500. And so when we filed our taxes, it said that someone's already claimed on this number. The IRS is so large, I would have had no idea where to go. Think about calling your senator, think about calling your congressman in that situation. And to be honest with you, that's what I did. I didn't do it on myself because I wouldn't want anybody to think that I was doing something inappropriately. And so I had one of our caseworkers basically had me fill out an authorization form, and they went to the IRS and they're working. It's still not resolved. I had to file an extension, and there's still no resolution. So It's not fast, but it will get worked out eventually. Well, at least I hope it will.
That's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We got a lot of business folks on here. Let me take a break. Anybody got a question for me, for Van, anything y'all want to add to the conversation? Anything going on with y'all that we need to hear about? Adam, you're looking so pensive here. What's going on, Adam Vance?
Nothing. I'm happy to report that commercial AV installations and events are off the chain. As you mentioned last week, we had the Mark Anthony Brewing grand opening, which Sound and Images had the pleasure of managing that entire affair, and as many others, Miwan recently too. So economic development, things are going great, and just happy because our business got absolutely pummeled during COVID. There's 0 events during COVID, obviously, and we limped along with commercial installations. But thanks for Van for being there, and we work with the senator time and time again over the years, providing PA services at events that he speaks at, and it's always a pleasure. And Amy, I need to see your London travel hat. You just went off video, and I wonder if you're in London and you're on just to let us all know we're going to work today. So thank you.
I think the same. That's a good point. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, she may have the long distance award for the day. Hey, Adam, you brought up a good point. Speaking of, just saw this stat from the Secretary of State's office this week. Corporate filings increased from 2019 to 2020 by 58%. So corporate filings are up in South Carolina 58%. Total number of business filings were up 33%. We're seeing significant growth all over the state, which is those numbers are unbelievable. That you think from COVID, we see this much growth. It's pretty astounding, quite frankly.
And with that growth comes problems. You got to find employees.
That's right. Or opportunities, but yes.
It's opportunity. And one other thing we are seeing is that, especially on the hourly workers, the guy was telling me this yesterday at the chemical plant. He said, for a quarter more an hour, they're gone.
Yeah. And it doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much. They'll jump to the next job, which is great for them. They're getting they're getting more money.
Yeah, it's just going to cost us a little bit more. Hey, all right. What else? Anybody else got something for the day? I'm trying to check chat box too. And all right, I'm having trouble just checking this thing out. So if anybody's got anything, feel free to speak up. All right, do I have to call on somebody again? Who's had it's apparent no one's had enough coffee today. All right, the shy folks.
Good morning, Carl.
There we go.
Eddie from the downtown YMCA Columbia. As we were talking about veterans and how important they are to our local economy, we are actually having our first ever Race to Remember next Saturday, a 5K, starting at our downtown YMCA. Would love for folks to come out and sign up. I'll put the sign up in the chat, and feel free to join us as we remember those who gave their lives for this country and support those who have served.
Great. Thank you, Jim. By the way, Jeep Rogers got a great shout out this week with swim lessons. on today's show. So congrats to your team out there.
Thank you.
All right, what other we got today? Any other announcements? Man, I told Van that this place was so lively and couldn't shut this crowd up.
Well, I guess if nobody
Get a
wants to
political
talk,
guy. Make him
if
be
this
quiet.
is no one wants to talk, it's not political. But I would
Hey.
say thank you for all of your work. And I do believe Senator Lindsey Graham has a pet at home, maybe a couple, I understand. And I am the small business G, your dog smells terrific. So I'd love an opportunity to be invited around to some of your offices and talk with some of your people and make their pets very happy and encourage you to have a pet work day where they can bring their pet. It has been found, I'm a retired nurse, it has been found that it decreases the stress level in the workplace and they just love on everybody. So this is Jacqueline Bowman from G, your dog smells terrific.
Yep. So Jacqueline, we actually, in our DC office, our scheduler, she brings her dog to work every day. And
Yes.
our former project manager in DC, he brought his dog to work every day. And I recently hired a staffer in Mount Pleasant, and she was 24 years old, and she'd graduated a couple of years ago. She'd never worked outside of her house with COVID. And she did an interview with me online with her dog in her lap the whole time. So we're very dog friendly.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. But do remember me if you want to kind of get a little fog and want to touch bases with me, just call Carl and he'll hook me up. Thank you for listening and have a fantastic weekend and stay safe out there, okay?
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Carl, we had a couple people asking where they can find the outreach job posting.
I don't really post jobs. It's mainly word of mouth, similar to this situation. I'll give you my email address. So if those two people want to write it down, it's Van, VAN, _ Cato, CATO, at lgraham, and that's LGRAHAM .senate, SENATE .gov, GOV. And that goes the same for anybody else on the call. That's a good way to reach me.
Thanks, Anna.
Yep. Thank you, Anna. There you go.
Hey, Carl, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
More,
Hey, Jeff.
hey, I just spent the weekend with the son camping in the mountains and had lengthy discussions. I have two children who are entrepreneurs, and we had some pretty lengthy discussions about the availability of venture capital money and the dramatic change of the stock market and the impacts of that over the course of the last month. That's ongoing right now and continuing to go on, and that there's always a little bit of a delayed effect on impact on businesses and things like that. But listening to them, it's quite dramatic. The money appears to be drying, it appears to be drying up considerably. And so as you look across when you're looking for cranes and things like that, it always takes a little bit of a delay. I'd hate to lose our crane. But the things that are going on right now are going to continue to go on because they've already got their money. But what do you think is, are we sensing this? Is there anything we can do locally as we look forward over the course of the next couple of years? But it seems pretty clear that there's a contraction ongoing. And if you have any thoughts on concerns about that, I'd be interested in hearing.
Well, I'm not an economist, but I will say this. I think what's happening right now on a global scale is obviously impacting us everywhere, right? Not only from the gas and food issues, supply chain issues are going to continue to be a headache for us. The positive side is the Sun Belt will continue to grow. The population migration is still happening. The question is going to be, does the Wall Street, the slowdown that we're seeing right now, which is done deliberately by the Fed, right? By raising rates, you're slowing down the economy.
Correct.
How deep does it go? And is it felt equally across the country? I don't think so. I think you're going to see some parts of the country hurt worse. Columbia has always been somewhat resilient in that regard because we have so much government, state, local, and federal government in Columbia, where if we see a decline in the economy, we're insulated. We don't see dramatic drops within our marketplace. Not as much. Greenville and Charleston see a lot more dips than what we do. Now, our growth out of those after a recession are a lot slower. They're flatter growth rates, but we've been fortunate. So my prediction is we are going to see a slowdown. I don't know. We've already seen 1 quarter of no growth, negative growth in the economy. Do we see the R word come in? Do we see a recession? I don't think it's going to be as severe as 2007, 2008, at least not as dramatic. But what's the big unknown is the global impact and what's happening across the globe. The longer we have a disruption in Ukraine, the worse it gets, quite frankly, because of the dependence of the oil there, as well as the food. So I think everybody's in a wait and see. So what I think you're seeing now with capital getting harder to get capital, partly rates are higher, it's going to cost more, but I think people are having to wait and see. And when you have the volatility in the market like you did this week, it doesn't help. But I do think that'll be the norm for the next, or at least the near future. But I'm not ready to predict that we're going to see a recession in South Carolina. It may happen nationally, but I think we're in a better position. All the fundamentals are there, quite frankly. I mean, we've got real estate market may slow down a little bit, but at some point, I mean, it can't remain as hot as it's been. I mean, it's been unbelievable. So sustainability is an issue. So slowing down is not a bad thing. It'll allow everybody to regroup. But I'm not bearish yet. I think we've got a good opportunity ahead of us. You want to?
I agree. I mean, Senator Graham says it all the time. Capital goes where capital is most wanted. And I think being a business-friendly state, we won't see the slowdown as you will in possibly California and some of the other places that are more tough on business.
Yeah. A good question, Jim. All right, guys. Listen, we've taken up enough time for you today, but thanks for being with us. I'm going to be back in the office next Friday, so I look forward to seeing y'all then. But be safe. Enjoy your air conditioning this weekend, and we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Amy, thanks for coming all the way from London.
Sure thing. Bye.
See you.